Welcome to the opening bell of the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That's Connor Rogers. This is a Thursday, true Thursday edition of a mailbag episode of the podcast, hearing from the faithful listeners, the addicts of the pod. You guys sent in all your questions via iTunes, Twitter, Instagram message, everything. They were gathered from all across the internet, and we're going to bring it all together, answering as many as we possibly can here in one jam-packed show. Connor, I haven't had the chance to really sit down and talk with you since the holiday weekend. How was it, my friend?
Oh, 4th of July, great weekend. I know you hate the 4th of July. We've gone over this before.
The 4th of July.
You despise the 4th of July.
Geez, all right.
It was great down the Jersey Shore, I think, and nobody will be surprised to hear that from me. A little kayaking, a little beach action. A couple beers here and there. You know how it is. How was yours?
One or two beers. So actually, this weekend, it was great. First of all, it was great because I don't hate the 4th of July, just so everybody realizes this. It was a previous, I don't know if that was the mailbag episode or what last time we actually
most overrated holiday. It was the last mailbag episode.
I had this coming. But so I was with my fiance. See, I got it that time. Everybody,
you know how slow you said it though. Like you really braced yourself.
I said fiance. My fiance's family, and I met a lot of them for the first time. Okay, the story that I have to tell on this podcast that I couldn't wait to tell is they have this family cornhole championship, which sounds awesome. Every single family member, like young and old, gets to participate in this single elimination cornhole tournament in which they have a full ass trophy made that you get to take home that is in it's in a Home Depot Lowe's case that the Stanley Cup comes in. This is wild. But the thing is, it's not a regular game of cornhole. I guess their great granddad built this cornhole board where it's a little bit smaller than a normal cornhole board, but it's not two boards. It's just one of them. And there's a small hole at the top with 40 points, two holes on the sides with 10 and 15 points.
This is like skee ball for cornhole.
Right. And then a hole at the bottom with 25 points. And you each shoot from the same side, and you get 4 bags. I think it's 4 bags each. So that's still the same. But you just play first to 100, and then the first person to reach 100 wins. That's it. So games
you have to hit it. You have to hit it even.
No. You don't even have to hit it even. It's just the first to get 100, and then if both of you go over 100, then it's up how in a single turn. Then it's whoever has the most points of that. But I lost in the first round, and I'm butthurt about it because...
Wait, the first round?
Dude, yes!
And you didn't play like a 6-year-old cousin or something.
No, I played someone I played the person who actually made the championship, so I wasn't too butthurt about it, but he didn't win. But I was mad, man. I was mad because I'm sitting here practicing regular cornhole all week, and then we play this game where he happens to hit 2 40-baggers right away, and I'm like, what am I going to do to this? It's single elimination.
This was your family debut. I get it. I feel your pain,
man. I felt bad. I let the Sikkema name down. I came into the Lang family, and I got bounced in the first round.
Outdoor, yard games at family outings when you're new are low key bottom 5 thing. Or they're a top 5 thing if you star in them.
You're correct.
There's really no in between. You can't blend in because everybody knows you're the new guy.
Right.
And everybody at the yard does this every other month over summer. I remember when I went over to my girlfriend's family's house for the same situation as you. I was meeting the extended family for the first time. Her older, not extended, older brothers and stuff. And they play Polish horseshoes. I'd never played Polish horseshoes.
Is it different than regular horseshoes?
Yeah. So for people that don't know, it's where you have 2, let's say ski poles, kind of stakes, and a bottle on top, and you gotta whip a frisbee as hard as you can to try to knock the bottle off. And I want to make sure I'm remembering this right. I think you try to catch the frisbee, but if they knock the bottle off, you have to catch the bottle. And dude, and I'm telling you, I'm telling you, like, somebody there, like, on the deck got, like, hit in the face with the frisbee. Like, this game gets, like, intense. Like, you are whipping a frisbee as hard as you can and catching things one-handed.
What?
And I don't know these people at the time.
Right. So you don't want to go. You don't want to go balls to the wall with it.
No, but you have to, dude. Everyone else is.
That's true.
Everyone else is, or else you're gonna get hurt.
Right. And you can't call it. Yeah. And you can't be soft. You know, like you can't be like going in there just like barely throwing the frisbee.
No. You need to set the tone. You're the new guy.
Man.
Like, so I feel your pain. I feel your pain, especially the curveball of like, what the hell is this game?
Right. Yeah. No, it was tough.
You'll bounce back. Just start training for next year.
Yeah, I do. I now that I know what's going on, I think that Alyssa and I are going to build a bowl. Like I'm going to build a bowl.
I think you have to. I don't think you could go buy one.
Yeah, I'm going to train all year. That trophy's coming home next year, so we're avoiding a little bit of embarrassment by hopefully winning it all next year. But yeah, no, 4th of July was a good time. Glad that you had a great time too. Hopefully everybody out there stayed safe and had a great time as well. Let's get right into these questions. You want to hit it? You got anything else to say?
Let's fire away. We got a lot of good ones.
Oh, wait. Before we get to the questions, I do have to read. I do have to keep the lights on. I do have to keep the lights on here by reading everybody's favorite ad rate. I almost forgot about it. I almost deprived you guys of it, and I could never do that. Gentlemen out there listening, all men strive for gold in their life, right? Gold medals, gold watches, gold everything. Heck, I was striving for that gold trophy, but your boy got bounced in the first round like the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Hate to see it. However, there's a certain type of man who goes the extra mile. He walks in the confidence of an eagle and he giggles in the face of danger. He is a big, hairless winning machine. And when he unzips his pants, he sees, wait a second, platinum? That is right. Manscaped would like to introduce to you their best, biggest, ultimate hygiene bundle yet, the Platinum Package 4.0. Manscaped is the leader in below the waist grooming. Now trust them with the whole shebang. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping using the promo code PFF. Manscaped's brand new Platinum Package 4.0 is the biggest bundle that they've ever offered, giving you a bulk discount on Manscaped's top products. 20% off and free shipping if you use the promo code PFF at manscaped.com. Time for you to enjoy the finer things in life and get yourself a Platinum Package for your Platinum Package. Okay, now we can get into it. As we said last week, the iTunes review questions get the fast pass to the front of the line. So we'll get to those first. First one. Pick one NFL team to go from worst to first this year and one consensus top 10 team that will miss the playoffs. So I broke this up. I went a little overachiever with it. I went NFC and AFC for both. So I've got 2 answers for both. I don't know if you had that, but I kind of wanted to extend it because there were a couple of teams that I was thinking.
I do actually.
All right, wonderful. Because there were a handful of teams that I was thinking about. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to break it up into conferences. So let's start with who you think in each conference, NFC and AFC, can go from worst to first.
So AFC. So here's my thought process with this exercise, Trevor. And I think it's, we have the blueprint when you look at the Bengals. Like, how can a team do that? Mm-hmm. And the most concrete theory I have is a breakout at the quarterback position that is just unparalleled. So I went with that theory for the AFC, went with Jacksonville.
Nice.
With Jacksonville, they also are in the easiest division in the AFC, right? Worst to first. Where, if you made this argument for the Jets with Zach Wilson, Bills might have the best roster in the NFL, right? Obviously, when you look at the Broncos did finish in last, but they were 7-10.
Right. So right. The Broncos were way too. The Broncos and the Ravens were both teams that finished.
Oh my God, the Ravens are 8-9.
Right. Yeah. And it's like I didn't want to pick those.
No.
So I didn't. I didn't pick those either.
So now, do I think Jacksonville does win the AFC South? No. But if I have to pick one here, that's who I go with because I think we're going to see regression from the Titans. The Texans still don't scare me. I do like the Colts a lot this year with Matt Ryan. That's the one big holdup. Like it would take unfortunately like a Matt Ryan type of injury for the Jaguars to be able to find first place. But Trevor Lawrence, man, he was a great quarterback prospect. He had a tough year in awful circumstances with Urban Meyer and everything that went on there, a bad roster.
Right.
I think Doug is the right guy to come in there and just balance things out. I think Trevor will have a really solid year for them, and I think they're a team that they should at least double that 3-win mark to 6, but it wouldn't shock me if they can bounce into 7 or 8 wins. So they're the one that I like the most for a big-time turnaround in this conference.
Yep.
What about you?
No, I think that I completely agree with you with what you said about the Broncos, what you said about the Ravens as well, Jacksonville is the team that if you were truly taking this question of worst to first,
Yep.
I think you have to go with Jacksonville just because of the lack of solidification at the very top. But the team that I'm going to shout out, because I didn't think that you'd shout them out, but I wanted to make sure I shouted them out, was the New York Jets. I don't think the Buffalo Bills are going anywhere. I think they're absolutely still winning that division. But in the spirit of the question, maybe not verbatim part of the question, what is a team that could have a massive turnaround? I think the Jets are a team that could potentially go from being last place in their division to a playoff spot, sneaking in with the wild card. Now, that would require a massive leap in a lot of areas for the Jets, but there's reason to think that, hey, if they hit it all, right, if the coaching staff is getting a lot of continuity and chemistry with the players, if a lot of those guys take their second, third year, fourth year in the league leaps, if they get lucky with guys not getting injured, there's a chance. On paper, there are things to like about this Jets team. I think the playmakers are getting better. Zach Wilson's going to be better. The backfield's going to be even better. The defense, I think, is getting better. You and I talked about how we believe Quinnen Williams is about to take that next step. And I think that especially with their new edge rushers, that's going to be the case as well. So I think that when you look at on paper, outside of Jacksonville, which I do think is the obvious answer in the AFC, the Jets are a team that could make that jump from a nobody to a somebody, which I think is kind of the spirit of the question as well. So what about the NFC? What do you think about the NFC?
So the NFC, I thought it's obviously pretty difficult. The one that might surprise people, and it goes against my theory for the AFC about the quarterback, it's the Lions for me.
Yeah,
and
nice.
I say that because Green Bay is still a unit, man. Like, obviously, I don't think they're going anywhere despite some key losses. I don't really love the Vikings this year. I don't like the Bears at all this year with how little they improved that roster. It's kind of like they sat back and said, hey, we're going to, understandably do the step one of a new regime and asset collect and then go all in down the road. I'm not criticizing that process, but that's the process they chose, and I think they're going to pay the price for that this season. You look at the Lions, they are in a different phase. They already did the asset collecting. Now they got all the picks in the blueprint of their roster. I know Jared Goff's limited. I get it. But they quietly have one of the better offensive lines in football. They have a backfield with multiple running backs that can take the workload. They're going to be able to run the ball. I think Goff can function in the offense with what they have, especially when Jameson Williams comes back. I don't think Goff's going to be a top 10 quarterback, top 12, but can he function in the offense when there's a good offensive line in front of him, which is important for his lack of mobility? Middle of the field threats, whether it's Amon-Ra, whether it's Hawkinson, J-Mo getting the speed on the outside. They made some free agency additions as well on offense, and they're just going to compete under Dan Campbell. So if the Lions finish behind the Packers, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great call out. And look, there's a reason why the Lions finished last in that division. Now, I do think that they got unlucky in certain ways, especially when it came to closer games. But there's also reason to believe that their best ball is ahead of them. And I'm not so sure a playoff spot is going to be there for the Lions this year. But I do agree with you that if we're shouting out a team, they do make sense because the arrow is pointing up. I'm glad you mentioned that offensive line because when you can win the way that we believe they're going to win theoretically up front with a top 5 offensive line in this league, that allows you to have a lot of flexibility. They add Jameson Williams, who might not be there right away, but I think could come on strong in the second half of the NFL. They add DJ Chark. They already have St. Brown. They've got TJ Hawkinson. They've got a plethora of running backs that they could go to. The defense, we're still figuring it out. And when I look at the depth chart, you've got guys to like, but the two biggest question marks for me are, what are you getting from Aiden Hutchinson year one? Because I'm not really worried about Hutchinson long-term, but what are you getting from him right out of the gate? And then what is Jeff Okudah? What is Jeff Okudah?
Great question.
If both of those guys can, and when I say hit this year, I even mean just like look good.
Yep.
Then, dude, next year, fully healthy J-Mo, another year with that offensive line. You've got now defensive stars and hopefully Jeff Okudah and Aiden Hutchinson. You're going to be adding more pieces to the puzzle next offseason as well. That's when I really see the Lions definitely competing, but you're totally right. It's a good shout out, especially in Dan Campbell's group. I think they are going to be a lot better this year than they were last year. I'll bring up a topical team. Okay. I'll go with the Carolina Panthers. And again, this isn't verbatim to the question because I don't think the Carolina Panthers are going to be better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just think their schedule is too easy. The Bucs have too much continuity. They have too much familiarity on a roster that's already won a Super Bowl. They're not going to overtake Tampa at the top of that division. But this was a team that was 5-12 last year. That, Connor, I would say absolutely disappointed in a lot of different ways. You can look at certain situations for that team and think that, okay, there's a reason to believe that maybe they could have even won 7-8 games last year. You get a little bit better this year, hopefully, with just the young guys on the roster getting better. You get a fully healthy, hopefully, Christian McCaffrey back. The offensive line is improving. That young defense with Phil Snow, year 3, you hope that they're about to take a leap in a lot of different ways. Brian Burns gets over that hump and gets a double-digit sacks. Derek Brown gets a lot better. Your J.C. Horn, a fully healthy
J.C. Horn, man. He looked good when he was on the field.
And then the topical part of this that we can get into is they now have Baker Mayfield on the team. Now, I'll just talk a little bit about the Baker Mayfield situation because I'd love to hear from you as well.
Yeah.
This was a great move for Carolina, I think. Getting Baker Mayfield, especially for the price and the way that they went about it. All of the timeline when it came to pressure of when to move Mayfield was on Cleveland. It always was, especially given with what's happening with Deshaun Watson and how they really soured their relationship with Baker Mayfield. This was always pressure on Cleveland because for as much as you could sit here and say, oh, his 5th year of his rookie contract is fully guaranteed. Cleveland doesn't have to do anything. They're not going to lose out on anything. Come on. You couldn't have this guy on the roster for training camp.
No.
It would have been an absolute zoo. It would have been a circus. They had to move him at some point. Carolina was patient. This was always the best destination for both parties, if you ask me. So they figure out the salary. They get Baker Mayfield, which I believe Baker Mayfield immediately best quarterback on that roster. Biggest question mark for me is, of course, the offensive line. He's going from one of the best offensive lines in the NFL in Cleveland to now a hopefully budding offensive line. But
getting better.
Yeah,
you're right, though. You're right. There's a difference.
But that's the big area of concern with me for Baker Mayfield. But I love the move. I love the way that Carolina went into this. It didn't seem like Seattle was that interested at all. So Carolina played the game very well, knew that they were basically the only game in town. They were the only realistic suitors for Cleveland, and they let time be their ally when it came to pressure mounting on Cleveland to make a move and get rid of them. So I really did. I like this move for Carolina, and I think that it gives them a chance now to be better this year because it wasn't going to happen with Sam Darnold.
Before I get into the trade, do you find it a little odd that Seattle wasn't in on this?
Yes, I do. But it just seemed like they never were. So
never were.
But I agree with you. I think that it was a little odd that Seattle was not interested.
It just feels like Seattle to me is the team that all offseason we're hearing Pete confidently, stick by Drew Lock, Geno Smith, and everybody's looking around like, really? And then the time goes by and nothing changes, and then you play the games during the regular season and you're like, yeah, they won 5 or 6 games because they stuck by Drew Lock and Geno Smith. And they think they can win. That's the scary thing to me. Right. So either way, let's get into Baker and Carolina. Like you said, I agree with you. It's a fine line, right, Trevor? Because you don't want to overpraise Carolina because all they've done in the Matt Rule era is fumbled the quarterback situation. So you don't get credit. Like, you don't throw up on the floor and then everybody cheers for you because you cleaned up after yourself.
That's not a great analogy.
That's not how it goes, man. Like, you're the one that got yourself into the mess because you drank too much. So I don't want to go overboard and be like, wow. But this makes Carolina a better football team, and that matters. Yep. That stands for something. For those sitting at home that do the juggle of Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, and they go, I don't know. Let me tell you, as somebody that has watched a lot of Sam Darnold and a lot of Baker Mayfield, it's not even close when Baker Mayfield's healthy. He's a significantly better quarterback. He's an upgrade for this offense. They got him in there before training camp even starts. Now that he can go take his physical as we record this show, he can get his hands on the concepts he's going to be running. He's going to get caught up to speed. He's going to be motivated. He's going to be motivated to kick the Browns' ass week 1. That alone is enough for him to be like, let's get ready to go. This helps a lot of guys in fantasy football on that Carolina offense right now. That much we know. Man, I think it makes them a better team, and I like your pick a lot. Obviously, staring up at the Bucs is no easy task. staring up at the Saints, who are in a little bit of a transition period, but are still really good. That's no easy task. Atlanta's in a full-on rebuild, so yeah, they're going to probably surpass them pretty easily. But if Baker is healthy, which is a huge caveat, but if he's healthy, he's the guy for them. And it's not even close. He's a significant upgrade over Sam Darnold and Matt Corral right now. So, and you gave up nothing. You're barely paying him any of his salary. The Browns could not have handled this situation worse in terms of killing any kind of value that Baker Mayfield had. I mean, just absolutely destroyed that, and the Panthers reaped the reward, and their patience paid off. So yeah, it's a good move. There's no denying it.
Real quick, what is the question? The second part of the question is a top 10 consensus team that might miss the playoffs. What did I have in my notes here?
Tricky. You got to think of who's the consensus in the top 10.
I have teams in both the NFC and the AFC. Like, I think an easy one for the NFC is the Cardinals to maybe miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
In the AFC, the Steelers made the playoffs last year. I think that they're a candidate to potentially miss the playoffs this year. I know a lot of people would point to the Bengals as well. So the Bengals might take a step back, and that might cause them to miss the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be a terrible team, but maybe not as dominant down the stretch.
Tennessee
the year before. Tennessee,
they were the number 1 seed in the AFC last year.
Tennessee, I think, is probably the right answer. Tennessee. So Tennessee's your pick. Tennessee would be your pick.
I would go with Tennessee because they were 12-5 last year. I wouldn't be. I mean, do the exercise right there, right? When you look at how they don't make the playoffs. I mean, I think the Colts can win that division off the bat, and then you got to go through the wild cards. But let's assume that the Bills are in.
AFC's tough too.
Colts win the division. The Bengals, they were in the Super Bowl. Let's put some respect on their name. They make it back. That's already 3, right?
Yeah.
You feel like at least 2 are coming out of the AFC West. At least 2.
I'll
go with the Chiefs and the Chargers. Then let's say the Ravens make it back in. Like, things get tight for Tennessee real quick. I'm not saying they don't make the playoffs, but I'm saying if I had to pick one, they're the regression team for me, like your pick of the Cardinals in the NFC.
I would also throw the Cowboys in there. I think the Cowboys are in there for regression. The offensive line is getting older. The youthful addition that they have on the offensive line is Tyler Smith, who I think is going to take some time for him to be a legitimate starter in the league, which I think he has the potential to do. He's just, there are consistency things and technique things and just competition level things coming from Tulsa that he's really going to need to work out. Obviously, they lose Amari Cooper. They lose Cedric Wilson as well. They still have Michael Gallup. They still have CeeDee Lamb, so they're okay there. But Zeke Elliott,
stanky division though.
Zeke Elliott is getting older, and they continue to want to give him the football. I know they have Tony Pollard, but they continue to want to give the ball to Zeke, and he's just not nearly as explosive and effective. Trayvon Diggs is not going to have 11 interceptions again, right? And so, for as much as even if you love the fact that he is a ball hawk, shoot, man, you cut that in half. You give him 6 interceptions, and that's a good year for a corner. That could be like a win or 2 that they don't get if that's a possession. So I think that all of that is natural regression as well. Micah Parsons is still going to be an absolute animal in the middle, but no Randy Gregory either. All of that, plus the fact that I don't really love Mike McCarthy as a head coach. If they would have lost Dan Quinn, this would have been my easy answer because I love Dan Quinn, but they were able to retain him, which I think was huge because now they have 2 of the best coordinators in the game in Dan Quinn and Kellen Moore. That could help make up for Mike McCarthy, who I don't have a ton of trust in, but I want to shout out the Cowboys too, because if you believe the Cowboys are still a top 10 team in the NFL, I believe they won 12 games last year.
They did 12-5.
12-5. Then I would say that they are a team that could potentially miss the playoffs this year and have some regression. All right, let's get on to the next question here. Which NFL coaches would you hate to get chewed out from the most?
Mike Vrabel.
He is on my list.
Mike Vrabel. It's Mike Vrabel. I think I've told this on the pod, and if I haven't before, when the teams are only allowed to do the FaceTime interviews because of the pandemic, the stories I heard of Vrabel just destroying guys
like, over FaceTime
was enough where I was like, if that's how he is on FaceTime, I don't even know. I think Will Compton made a joke on Twitter, although I don't know if it was a joke, that like he broke his leg or something once, and Vrabel was like, move the drill. Like keep it going. Like just move the drill away from him breaking his leg. Like Vrabel is so So scary. What are the good runner-ups? I'm so caught up on Vrabel being terrifying.
Mike Vrabel is there, and then I have Dan Campbell, but I think Vrabel is scarier than Campbell if we're going like scary factor.
I think Dan can put his hand on your shoulder though sometimes and balance when it's time to scream and when it's time to have a heart to heart. I don't know if Vrabel has that switch, and it's worked. He's won a lot of games.
He's just straight disciplinarian. I mean, maybe it's a parenting tip for people out there. I don't know. The other coaches that I have on here, Sean McDermott is one of them. And I have Sean McDermott because I feel like Sean McDermott would be if your dad just went, son, I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed. And I'd be like, Sean, come on, man. Like, don't cut me deep. Like call me a bad word. Like do something like degrade me or something. Don't tell me that you're disappointed in me. Like that would be like the fatherly figure. Cause I feel as though, man, I listen to those Bills players talk about that locker room and that team chemistry and how tight it is. And just every team, it feels like Sean McDermott has been the head coach of. That family feeling has been at the core of all of them. And so I feel like if he were to chew me out, it would be in like a fatherly, I'm disappointed way. And that would that would cut to my core. So I thought about that one. And then the other one I thought of is Lovie Smith, because he's so soft spoken. I don't know if he's yelling at me and I'd hear him fully. I don't know. He's very soft spoken as a head coach. So I'd be like, all right, well, I didn't hear how you want me to get better, but so those are my three outside of Mike Vrabel.
This exercise kind of made me realize we're past the era of there being so many scary NFL coaches. Like I went down the list of all the teams while doing this.
Right.
And I was like, wow. A lot of coaches in the NFL are not at least publicly. I'm not going to pretend that I'm in the meeting room watching tape, watching my bad tape and they're screaming at me. But think about it. When you go down the list, it's like, wow, there's a lot of guys are the teach method over the yell method in the league right now. I think and I think if you did this exercise in 1995 or whatever it is,
probably different.
It would be flipped upside down.
Well, so Saban was in the NFL at that point, so that would count. That would count
all the time.
Wait, was he in the NFL in '95? When was he with the
No,
Browns?
I don't think so. I think Saban was a little bit later than that.
Was he in Michigan State at that point?
So Saban was with the Dolphins from 2005 to 2006. 95 was his first year at Michigan State. So he was with the Browns the 4 years before that, though.
Yeah, okay. I was wondering when you were
close.
With the Browns. All right,
I forgot about that whole thing.
Yeah, him and Belichick.
Yep, of course.
Him and Bill.
All right.
Next question.
Keep it rolling.
This one's from Lil Hoops 2007 on the iTunes reviews. They said, piggybacking off your NFL Street episode, make a team for NFL Street players from the other four major sports. You can pick an NFL player to be your QB, but it can't actually be a QB. I wanted to read this question, but we're not going to do it here. I think I want this to be some sort of a full mock draft Monday format, like building a full team, not even an NFL Street team. Maybe it might be full 22-man rosters of athletes who are not in football, because I think that's extremely fun. So wanted to read the question, but we're probably going to do a full show on that one. D Billionaire asked, what would be your go-to weapon in a Game of Thrones style battle? Sword, shield, a bow, a battle axe, a warhammer, a great sword. Love the show. And then they also said 11 on 11 Street is a must, which I got to tell you, man, we got a lot of feedback and comments saying people wanted to do the 11 on 11 NFL Street episode. So that is also going to be coming. But what is your go-to weapon, Game of Thrones style?
Well, you got to think, and I think a lot of people don't think of this. Like, you and I are not, as much as a lot of people probably assume this, we're not 6'6", 280 pounds. Like, we're not carrying a shield and an axe.
Don't give it away. They don't know that.
I know.
They only see us on YouTube.
We give that appearance. Not 6'6", 280. We're 6'3", 250. So
right.
I'm not... The battle axe is too much weapon for me. As much as
a little much.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to go... I do like the idea of the bow, but your primary weapon can't just be the bow. Yeah, you need to pick a handheld weapon. So I'm gonna go classic sword here because the practicality of it. The battle axe is just too much, man. It's too much. I got to go with the sword. It's the boring answer. You know what I would go with, actually? Let me take that back. Not sword and shield. I'd go double daggers.
Oh, nice.
Because you can use them to block. They're really light on your feet.
Yep.
I'd go double daggers. You could throw one and still have a weapon.
It's true. It's true.
Double daggers for me.
That's good. No, that's a good strat. I also went with with just having a good suit of body armor and a sword. And the reason why is because I go back, if we're doing this Game of Thrones, I go back to a quote that the Hound had, one of my favorite characters in the show.
Just such a legend.
The quote was, I believe he was talking to Arya at this point, and he said, "Your friend is dead and Meryn Trant is not, because Trent had armor and a big effing sword." And that's all it just comes down to. And
such a good line.
Every time I think about what weapons I would choose from the show, I always think about that quote and I go, you know what? Hound knew what he was talking about. Hound made it. So I got to I've got to go with his advice there and say that I would just take good body armor.
In spirit of the question,
sword.
In spirit of the question, let me kick one back to you. Are you in or out on the Jon Snow spinoff series that's rumored? Wow, you have to think about it. I'm 100% in. I'm all in.
I mean, like, here's the thing. I'm obviously in on it because Game of Thrones is my favorite show of all time.
You're a little skeptical, though, understandably.
It's just I'm like everybody else. The second Game of Thrones ended, I wanted to continue watching Game of Thrones. Like, I wanted to continue watching the story. For everybody out there who hasn't seen the show, I'm sorry, but if you haven't seen it at this point, I was like,
that's on you.
I was like 3 years late, so I'm sorry. But like Jon going off into the north with the wildlings, and what happens in Winterfell, like what happens with Bran being king, like does anything happen to the other side of the world that we spend so much time on? You know, like all of those things you think about and you want to say, okay, well, those stories didn't fully wrap up. Arya gets on a boat and she's just sailing, and you go like, okay, well, where's she going? What's she doing? Is she gonna conquer the world? What's going on? And you want to know the answers to that. So right off the bat, that part of me is super excited to hopefully pick up the story where it left off, or close to where it was left off with Jon Snow. I'm just worried. I'm just always worried that it's gonna suck. And I don't know, the cynic in me, the skeptic in me, but I'm torn. I'm torn a little bit on it, but obviously I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch the hell out of it. Just like I'm going to watch House of Dragon, or I think that's what it's called. But
yeah, it's a fair response because there's a lot of variables that need to happen for it to be right. Like you can't just bring back him and none of the rest of the cast.
Right.
Because you're in the world of Game of Thrones. So I just had to ask you that. It was in the spirit of a question. It's always good to see a Game of Thrones question in the mailbag.
Game of Thrones questions absolutely always welcome. If you have any like conspiracy theories, or like what if this character did this, or what if like this happened instead of this, always throw those out to us.
Yeah, when House of Dragon starts, this will be a House of Dragon podcast. And
it will indeed.
It'll have a subplot as a draft podcast. We're just kidding.
It'll be renamed to the NFL Dragon Exchange. All right, last one from the iTunes. This one's a funny one. Full Contact Football, and this is for fans of both Locked On NFL Draft, Stick to Football, and NFL Stock Exchange. Full Contact Football, Solak and Sikkema versus Matt Miller and Mello. Connor, you are all-time quarterback. Sweet. So
I am the middleman.
Who wins 2-on-2? You are the middleman. That's very true.
That is great. As all-time quarterback, in backyard football, I value speed. So you guys win pretty easily. Easily there. Nimble. I value speed. I know you and Ben. Definitely you. I've not ever seen Ben run, but I'm assuming he is. He's aerodynamic, is how I'll put it.
Ben used to run cross country. So
okay, so he can go all day. He's got the stamina.
I don't know. I don't know when the last time he ran cross country.
Yeah, I see a lot of tweets about just eating cheese in the middle of the night. So,
and it's not just cheese. It's not just cheese. It's post-midnight cheese. That's Ben's brand right now. Is it like 1:30 in the morning? He just goes, I'm gonna have some cheese.
Time for cheese. Yeah, I'll still take you guys. Okay. I'll still take you guys. You got the speed advantage.
I would be mad. Shout out Matt and Mello, obviously, but I would be mad if my current podcast partner didn't pick.
No, that would be a horrible move on my part.
Yeah, that would just be bad business on your part. Andrew asked this next one. These are two separate questions for me and you because he had to change the question a little bit. Said, Connor, rank how badly you want your sports teams to win a championship. So Jets, Mets, Knicks, Rangers rank
I
them?
get that one a real lot. You want
I
me to go,
imagine.
and then we'll do part 2 here?
Yeah, you
So
go and then I'll do part 2. Yeah.
I will say this question changes a lot. Changes a real lot. The most honest fan answer is it's Mets to win the World Series, Rangers to win the Cup, Jets to win the Super Bowl, Knicks to win an NBA championship. The other responses, though, because I would like, obviously we work in football, and I would like to see how people's brains unravel if the Jets ever won a Super Bowl.
Right.
Like, I don't really think general public of football fandom can understand that. Like, they can unpack that. Like, no, you can't make fun of the Jets anymore. They just won the Super Bowl. Like, you have to find new shitty jokes. So there's a big part of me that's Jets number one, but like as my real like what I'm a fan of right now, especially working in football, Mets to win the World Series, which is another one. A lot of people like crap on the Mets, even though they're finally good. Rangers winning the Cup, of course, that would be pretty special to me, as everybody could probably tell if you listen to the show during the playoffs. So yeah, I get that one a lot, and I will be honest, it does change about every 5 years, but that's where we are right now.
You have the Knicks as year 4, but you and I have talked about this before.
Yeah.
What is the New York championship that would be the most impactful to just
the city,
New York, the city, the
Knicks,
both fan base? And you said without a doubt it's the Knicks.
It's the Knicks. Now, why it's 4 for me? I'm not like I love the Knicks. Like I watched the Knicks since I was 4 years old.
Yeah,
religiously. Right. The problem is for the Knicks, Trevor, why that championship would mean less to me is not a Knicks thing. It definitely means the most of the city in New York, which means a lot to me. But it's the fact that the only way you really win an NBA championship these days is by getting stars that you signed externally. And I know the Bucks didn't do that. It was a bit of an anomaly. But like, that doesn't mean as much to me. Maybe I'm an old school, like boring sports fan. But like if the Knicks go out and do what the Nets just tried to did and it failed, like you signed KD and Kyrie, like, yeah, you're happy your team won a championship, but like, is it really like that cool? Yeah, it's cool. It's not the same to me as like the Rangers scouting Igor Shesterkin in Russia for how many years, developing him in the KHL, him coming over and being the successor to Henrik Lundqvist and winning a championship as the best goalie in the NHL. Like, it's just different to me.
I do think that exists more in NHL and MLB, no doubt, because like, you look at the Lightning, Steven Stamkos, Victor Hedman, Nikita Kucherov, Andre Vasilevsky. Like, those are their four best players. Andre Palat, Braden Point, right? All of these guys were drafted by the team.
Yeah.
All of them were drafted.
Cooper had been there for years before they got good.
Right. And so it is interesting. It is a different feel, no doubt about it, because in the NBA, you could almost be good overnight when you are a big market team, have a lot of money. The NFL, I will just tell you from experience, getting Tom Brady and then winning a title was the title still felt great. Watching two lifelong New England Patriots, Tom Brady and Gronkowski, hoist Lombardi Trophy in Tampa Bay. So,
and the Rams just did it with Stafford.
Right. And so obviously you do still enjoy it. But to your point, it is a different feeling. It's a different feeling when I remember watching the Lightning in, what was that strike shortened year? It was 2015, 2016.
Let me see. Yeah,
I can't remember which one was the strike shortened year, but like the Lightning still had all the same players. Like it was still Stamkos, it was still Hedman, it was Vasilevsky at the beginning. It was Tyler Johnson, Andre Palat, like all of those guys, and they missed the playoffs. And so I remember watching that core of players, and just the fact that team that you watched for so long got to win a championship. It is a different feeling. A championship's a championship. Everybody loves it. It's great for the city. You would enjoy it. I don't think that's what you're not saying that you wouldn't enjoy it, but it is definitely different when it's a homegrown, if you will. It just has a little bit more of a long lasting feeling to it.
The summary of it is in baseball and hockey, you are given more of a runway to allow cores to grow. Like, players come up in baseball and hockey, especially hockey, at like 21, and they might not be that good right away. Yeah. But everybody, there's a different patience level where they're like, when this guy's 24, 25, 26, and the guys around him that we all drafted together all hit at the same time. Like, I feel like in basketball, it's like, man, that core didn't work. Let's pay a different core and try again. It's just not for me. I get why some people love it, and I still like the NBA. I still love the Knicks, but as a league, it's not as good of a product to me, especially when you look at how small market teams like the Rays in baseball, like Cleveland in baseball, they do find a way to pretty consistently compete without spending any money, which is not a great thing, but it's still impressive in terms of how the sport functions that way.
The second part of the question for me from Andrew was Gators win the title this year. I'm assuming he means in football because that would mean the most. But the Bucks, Rays, and Lightning all missed the playoffs for the next 4 years. Do you make the trade? I don't know if
you have to.
I don't know if I'm crazy for this, but I don't. I don't make the trade. And I think the reason is because I don't know if it's just because I have not considered Florida to be contenders for so long that I'm numb to it now. But the Lightning are in a winning window, right? They've made 3 cups in a row. The Bucks have Tom Brady. The Rays are in a massive winning window right now. So it's like, it would actually mean more to me if either of those 3 teams, which actually have a chance to win a championship, win it over Florida, which is, if you would have asked me that question even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, for sure, I would have sprinted to say I want a Florida Gators football national championship. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm just numb to it now. They've had so many different coaching changes, and I've never really considered them actual contenders or what. But maybe Billy Napier will have them 5-0 this year, and you can ask me this question in 4 months, and my answer will completely change. But I've got to go against the grain a little.
My auto yes for you was because I thought since the Bucks and Lightning have won so much recently that you'd be like, cool. Now it's like, I'll take the Florida championship and substitute for the others. But I didn't think of your correct theory that very realistically in the next 4 years, you can win more than one championship total.
Which is like extremely greedy and wild to say.
But, dude, enjoy it while you can. My 30 years on this earth, I was, 2 years old when the Rangers won the cup. I don't count it. I've never seen any team I root for win a championship. So if the day ever comes where one of the 4 I love are a, not dynasty, but like have a chance to be a dynasty.
Right.
Soak that up. Soak it up.
It's coming. And I hope it comes while this podcast is still a thing, because it's going to be beautiful. You and I are going to be, if one of your teams or if either of our teams, I feel like, win a championship, next episode that we do, we're gonna have the snowboard or ski goggles on, and we're just gonna have like each have a bottle of champagne in our hand. That's gonna be fun. An episode that you can't miss. All right, Andy asked this next one: past or present, what's one real sporting event you wish you could have attended, and one fictional sporting event you wish you could have attended? This is a fun question.
It's a really fun one. Miracle on Ice is the number one for me, because I'm pretty sure it did not air live on TV at the time.
Oh, did it not?
I don't think so. I don't think it aired live on TV. So being there would be unlike anything else, in my opinion. One from like a movie or something is really tough. And it shouldn't be. I'm kind of drawing a blank here.
I got a handful.
You have one?
Yeah. I got a handful. So the real one, I definitely have Miracle on Ice here. Another one I wanted to give a shout out to was the 2006 Rose Bowl. Reggie Bush, Vince Young. Like, that would have been truly unbelievable to watch. And then honestly, the other one that I wrote down was outside of any of my teams winning a title, which is sentimental. Tiger winning the Masters in 2019. Can you imagine if you were there on Sunday and just you solely followed Tiger around the entire day, shot for shot, with him then winning the Masters? That would have been absolutely unbelievable. So the Miracle on Ice is definitely one of them. The 06 Rose Bowl, and then Tiger and the Masters in 2019 are 2 that I thought of. The fictional ones, I've got some funny ones, and then I've got some serious ones. The funny ones: the final round of the Tour Championship in Happy Gilmore, between Happy Gilmore and Shooter McGavin. Okay, like, it could not have ended any more dramatically. It was wonderful. And I thought, for this there are so many great sporting events that have happened throughout the course of history. And even, if we're talking fiction, but the best ones to watch are the ones where like you've got to have those crazy moments that can, I think, fill the entire time that you're there. Because I thought about this too. I was like, would LeBron beating Golden State for the Cleveland championship, like, would that be one of them? And to me, it's not, because
No.
basketball is so back and forth for 3 hours that like you have that insane last 5 minutes of the game. But I guess the Kyrie shot is like the shot that you would go the most crazy for. But you know, Miracle on Ice, you're screaming your head off the whole time, and you've got the goals that you're celebrating for. And Tiger hitting putts and shots, you're going crazy every time he does that. Vince Young and Reggie Bush and that USC team versus Texas, you're going back and forth the whole time, and you have that moment at the very end with Vince Young running it in, right? You've got all of those things throughout one game. And when I think fictional stuff, the other funny one was Globo Gym versus Average Joe's.
That's a really good one.
Dodgeball matchup. On the similar vein of hockey, the D2 Mighty Ducks, Team USA versus Team Iceland, goes into shootouts. Okay. You've got multiple back and forth there. But I think the number one for me would be Rocky versus Ivan Drago.
Oh, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one.
It's got to be the one, right? Because you're watching the fight and you're going crazy the whole time. Every punch, every rally, up until the very end, you get the knockout, and it's. I think that would be my number one.
That's absolutely the one. Or one we didn't get to see, which was Rocky against Apollo, the sparring.
The third one,
Rocky 3, and then the movie goes out. That's one as well. I'll add one in the spirit of boxing. Any Foreman Ali fight, any of them.
I'm sure they were nuts.
Obviously, the Rumble in the Jungle is probably the one that a lot of people would think that's the one you go to. I just, my God, it's crazy. I think Foreman came into that fight 40-0. Yeah, there's so much there with 37 knockouts. I mean, I don't. It doesn't get better than that. It's and boxing is quietly on the rise again, but just nothing will be what that rivalry was.
Yep, I agree. I agree. Andrew had another one here. If you had to pick one food to eat competitively, what would it be? And then there's a gif of Joey Chestnut just going absolutely ham on hot dogs, like we know he always does. So what's the food?
I could eat a lot of steak. A lot of steak. I could eat a lot of steak.
Have you ever done like one of those challenges where it's like 50 ounces of steak?
No, I have not. I've not competitively ate leisurely. I just think I can do it.
Competitively eaten leisurely. That's a funny way to say it.
Man. Oh, I don't know. It's a good one. Like,
steak's a good one. Steak's a really good one.
Because like you got to think like the things that are really good, like ice cream and stuff. Like I'm not lactose intolerant, but I think I'm pretty close. Where it's like
lactose sensitive.
I can't competitively eat something like that. Sure.
It's
pretty tough. What would you go with?
I have two that I wrote down. Steak is a good one. I don't know if I could competitively eat steak. We'll see. I eat chicken wings. I eat really fast.
Wings is a good one.
I could hammer chicken wings. And then the other one is sushi. Now I know that it's
not a sushi
like
guy.
Filling with like carbs and everything. But for example, we just had sushi last night, and unfortunately sushi's expensive. So, you know, like you order 3 rolls and it's like $30, but I will crush 3 rolls of sushi. And then an hour later, I'm hungry again. Like it's just, it's just clean to my body. It's just easy to digest. I think sushi and wings would be my 2 most competitive foods.
That's a good question. You got to think of like the aspect of how fast can I eat it?
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
But how much
chicken wings? I'm going to absolute town. Absolute town on it. Nicole asked this next one. Getting back to football. Of the 4 teams that have never made it to the Super Bowl, so the Detroit Lions, the Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Cleveland Browns, which team would you most like to make an appearance in the Super Bowl? And then do you want them to win or lose?
So this was really easy for me. It's the Lions, and I want to see them win. I don't even think it's close compared to the other 3. No offense to the fan base of those other 3. God, I'm trying to think. I've been to all 4 of these places, and I think I've been to all 4 during football season. Not all for football, but just in general. I don't think any of them would be embraced the same way Detroit would embrace the Lions being in the Super Bowl. I think it would be so big for
Well,
that city.
Cleveland, but Cleveland. So obviously, like you have to. Unfortunately, we now have to factor.
Yeah, I'm not rooting for.
No,
Yeah,
right,
no,
right,
sorry,
right,
you're out automatically.
The city itself, I think,
you're right.
Crazy.
Browns fans are diehard, but I think because the Lions have been bad for a really long time, people have forgotten how diehard the Lions fans are too.
Sure.
So, the one I vote for, like personally, I would like to see the Lions, and it's not just a Dan Campbell thing; it's the Lions for Detroit as a city. I think it would be really good for football. It'd be really good for Detroit. And I think that it's obviously a huge market as well.
I would say Jacksonville. Of those teams, I would want to see Jacksonville make it to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl because I have a lot of friends who are Jacksonville Jaguars fans who, honestly, I've met a lot of them just through social media because the fan base is absolutely nuts. You guys are crazy. You guys are awesome. That year that they went to the AFC Championship game, that they almost went to the Super Bowl, which they should have went to the Super Bowl. Miles Jack was not down. They had a wild card game in Jacksonville hosting against the Buffalo Bills. And I was living in Tampa at the time. And a bunch of my friends who live in Jacksonville, big Jags fans, they tailgate like just absolute crazy fans. Like that tailgate that I went to in Jacksonville for that playoff game, because I ended up going up there with them and experiencing that tailgate rivaled any college football tailgate I've ever
Damn.
They the area code is 904. One person made 904 Jello shots. Okay, for the entire tailgate group they had. I think it was Bold City Brigade is the tailgate group they have there. All 904 were consumed before they went in the stadium. And it was it was a wild time. It was a great time. They're passionate. They're crazy. They love football. They love each other. It's great. And I would love for that fan base to get to see another playoff run. And hopefully
shout out Jacksonville.
Big shout out Jacksonville. Big shout out Jacksonville.
I love it.
Patrick asked this next one. You're stranded in the woods, somewhere inaccessible to vehicles and filled with dangerous animals. Roger Goodell, concerned for your well-being, graciously says he will send 3 current NFL players of your choosing to rescue you. Who makes up your NFL wildlife survival rescue crew?
I mean, I think I don't want to say it's easy, but 3 come to my mind pretty quickly. Aaron Donald.
Okay.
Trent Williams.
Okay.
Derrick Henry.
Okay, so you're just going like full bodyguard beef strength style. If you guys need to move a boulder to get to where you want to go, you're going to do it. If Derrick Henry needs to wrestle a grizzly bear, he's going to do it.
Yeah, well, Trent Williams is doing that. I picked Derrick Henry instead of a third lineman because if say I break my leg or something and somebody needs to carry me and run really fast, Derrick Henry can do that.
Yep.
That's pretty easy for me.
You went straight beef. I went a little bit different of a strategy.
Oh, you went a little more skill.
I did. If you let me pick Ryan Fitzpatrick, I'm picking Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Okay, I will.
Simply because the beard, right, tells you he's enough of a man of nature, a wild man, to know that he understands how to survive. If you weren't going to let me pick Ryan Fitzpatrick, I was going to say Aaron Rodgers because he has a compass now on his arm, so you'd be able to know which way you're going.
Oh man, that was good.
All jokes aside, I mean, I know the internet's having a lot of fun with that, but Rodgers' tattoo, like design wise and quality wise, is pretty sick.
Okay, so here's my question for you.
It's pretty sick.
I agree. Is it a great tattoo or is it just a really good picture of a tattoo? Is it something that you want to see every day for the rest of your life?
Tattoos have to be very personal. That's the thing, is that anybody out there can get a tattoo and someone else is going to think that it's stupid. But
that's fair. As
long as you don't, and obviously I'm having fun poking fun at it, but honestly, the design work was sick. The tattoo artist is obviously an incredibly talented tattoo artist. As long as Aaron loves the tattoo,
I agree.
Great.
That someone that has tattoos, and
that is
I get it.
All that matters. I don't have a tattoo because I've never wanted just one or two one-off tattoos. I've always really wanted like a full sleeve tattoo on my left arm, but I'm also not sure I have enough things that I would want to fill a full sleeve with on my left arm. So
That's the problem.
It's a big internal debate for me. So if you guys see any inspirational full
Anything cool, you guys see anything cool on the internet, just send it to Trevor.
Right. If you guys see anything cool, just send it my way. I'll just put it somewhere on my arm as we continue to do that. So okay, so either Ryan Fitzpatrick or Aaron Rodgers. Vita Vea, because I did need the beef. I did need the beef somewhere. And then how about this one? Carson Wentz.
Ugh.
Because the man knows how to hunt and fish. We are surviving, baby.
You're right. Yeah, but he's gonna leave you guys in the woods at some point.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
he went there.
Got to think of reliability here.
That's true. That did go into it. Maybe that'll come back to bite me. Who knows? Garrett asked this one. We'll go rapid fire for the next 10 minutes here to close this one out. You are going. Oh, so he said Oklahoma drill. This is an Oklahoma drill. You are going one time against Jordan Davis, once against Vita Vea, or twice against Aaron Donald. Which one are you choosing? I don't know why you put twice against Aaron Donald.
I wouldn't even go once against Aaron Donald.
I wouldn't go once again. If he said once against Aaron Donald, I wouldn't be choosing Aaron Donald.
My answer is Jordan Davis.
Okay.
Because he's 6'6".
Yep.
So like there's a chance that I can like
get under.
There's a very small chance, but there's at least a chance that I can kind of like dip under him or slip under him, not take the full-on contact, or at least I just bounce off his belly, not his chest and shoulders. Vita Vea would literally kill me. Aaron Donald would make me unrecognizable because he's low to the ground. He's like 6 feet tall, 6'1". So he would just destroy me. Like my chest would split in half if I went against Aaron Donald once. So the answer for me is Jordan Davis.
Aaron Donald would have your body looking like a cursed Stranger Things character. So I would not be going up against him. I think I'd be going up against Vita Vea simply because I've met him and talked to him many times when I was covering the Buccaneers and he was a rookie. And he is a nice guy. So maybe he'd recognize me and he'd go,
like, I won't kill this man.
All right, I won't kill this guy. I'll let him live. Your life is your own, is what he would say after he absolutely buried me into the dirt. Patrick asked his next one, rank. This is always a controversial one. And this is kind of a shout out to question of the days, which you've kind of went away from a little bit, but we'll bring back in some capacity, I promise. Rank these breakfast foods: waffles, pancakes, French toast.
Waffles are the champ. Like the champ.
Okay.
Pancakes are really good, man. Like if done right. I became like a little bit of a pancake hater, and then I started eating like actually good pancakes.
Good pancakes.
Like chocolate chip pancakes, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, pancakes are actually really, really good. French toast is fine. It's significantly below the other two. Like significantly below the other two. Do you agree?
Have you ever had lemon ricotta pancakes?
No.
Where it's like, I'm trying to look up a recipe.
Lemon ricotta?
I've ordered them many times, and it is just the most elite, fluffy, flavorful
I will give it a shot.
Pancakes I have ever had.
I'm going to Google these bad boys.
It's insane. Waffles are number one. We have the exact same power ranking.
Waffles are the GOAT.
No question about it. You get the texture, you get the girth.
Practicality, the syrup flavor sits in them.
Correct. It's all right there.
It was just a perfect invention. The waffle was a perfect invention.
Yeah. Dr. Stephen F. Waffle just did an unbelievable job inventing the waffle there. So, that's number one. Pancakes number two, especially lemon ricotta pancakes. Good lemon ricotta pancakes could honestly contend for number one. I'm not gonna lie to you. And then French toast. Good French toast is fine, but I think you're right. There are too many times where French toast is bad. There are too many times where it's like soggy, right? The floor for French toast is so low that they've got to be number three. Did you look up lemon ricotta pancakes?
Yeah, it looks amazing.
There.
I will find it.
Johnny asked this next one. If you could take one professional athlete from a different sport and add him to your favorite team, who would it be and what position would they play?
Tricky.
I've got from soccer. I've got 6'5" Zlatan Ibrahimovic, the Sweden striker, because he'd be absolutely hilarious because he would just talk the most shit to everyone the entire time, even though he is not a football player at all. I think it'd be hilarious. Joel Embiid being a tight end, I think would also be absolutely hilarious.
Oh my God.
He's a giant 7-footer. And then the other one, this is a rugby player. And I thought about this question. I was like, you know what? There's got to be a rugby player that would be really good. Maro Itoje is a rugby player who's considered one of the best rugby players in the world. He's 6'5", 255, rocked up. And I went and I watched this dude's highlights before this question. And I went, holy cow, put him back in the running back spot for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it would be Derrick Henry like in that offense. And so, those would be my three there. Those would be
dude's a tank. We've seen a couple of rugby guys obviously try out for the NFL and not look out of place. So in the preseason. So that's a good one. My cheat answer here, and I think Johnny will specifically appreciate this, is I would take Kyler Murray and put him on the Mets because Kyler's actually a good baseball player.
Nice.
The Mets are trying to win a World Series.
Love it.
Every team now going into the postseason has that guy, or at least in the stretch run because of the ghost runner extra innings rule, that's like a designated pinch runner. So even if Kyler took a while to get the bat going, he's still going to be a great defensive replacement. He's your pinch runner.
Yep.
He can steal bases.
Yep.
So that's kind of my cheat answer,
that's
but
good.
also
that's not a cheat answer. That's a great answer. That's a good answer.
Thank you.
Michael asked this one in honor of the 4th of July and the hot dog eating contest. What are you guys' favorite types of hot dogs?
Oh, so brand.
So it could be like a brand, or you could just say like a Chicago style, or what do they call them in New York? Dirty water dogs? Is that what they call them?
Dirty water dogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like anything like that.
So for me, it's brand here because I'm a very simple hot dog guy in terms of I'm a child and just put ketchup on my hot dog.
Okay.
Black Bear, in my opinion, makes the best hot dogs. You can get them, I believe, at ShopRite. That's what my parents had when we were down this weekend. I was like, this is a good.
Can you get that anywhere? What are these called?
Black Bear is the brand. If you have a ShopRite near you, I think it's carried by all ShopRites.
Hot dogs.
Good hot dog. Good hot dog. Oh. Are you like a relish guy or what?
So I'm kind of a fiend. Like my parents at one point just called me just like a human garbage disposal because I'll basically eat anything. Like I've had Chicago style dogs and I'm like, all right, this is okay. Like it's not practical in any way, shape, or form, but like this is good. Or like I'll have a chili dog at a baseball game that I basically have to eat with a fork and knife because you physically can't pick it up unless you have gloves on. But if I just think my go-to is always on the grill hot dog with mustard. It's my go-to.
Yeah,
it's my go-to.
Classic.
That's my go-to.
I am not a mustard guy, but it's a classic.
I'm also a big, I would rather have a brat than a hot dog.
Oh, not even close.
Okay.
Like you go to the beer garden and you get brat and a big pitcher, mug.
You a sauerkraut guy?
I'm not.
Okay. I didn't think
I'm not.
I didn't.
So wait, I had to ask you something.
Yes.
Because the Mets just played the Reds. So this is my yearly reminder that this abomination exists. And you, for some of the year, do live in Cincinnati.
This is true. Are you going to ask me a Skyline Chili question?
Yeah. What's your take? I've never had it. It looks horrific.
No, Skyline Chili?
Yeah.
I've never had it.
Oh, you've never had it?
No.
And you, if you guys don't know Trevor off air, he is when he goes somewhere, he tries everything. He's lived in Cincinnati. He has safely tried. He has safely tried. I thought everything in Cincinnati. Good. I don't blame you. I wouldn't try it either. Looks like an abomination. I know people will bite back against that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, there are people. There are people.
Oh, they'll defend it.
That really will defend it. I've never had it. I have no desire to have it. In fact, the closest Skyline Chili to where I live downtown was also next to my favorite, hole in the wall bar with the best wings in the city. So if I'm even in the area, I'm not even considering going to Skyline Chili over going to that place. So I've never had it. I've never had it. Funny enough, the final college football preview show that we did at PFF on the desk on a Friday, Eric Eager had to eat Skyline Chili that he had never had. Eric has lived in Cincinnati, I think, for 5 years, 4 or 5 years. And he had never had Skyline Chili before. And he made a bet earlier in the year with Anthony Tresh, and Tresh won the bet. It was some game of some team covering a spread, whatever. Eric loses. He had to eat Skyline chili live on television. And when I tell you it was one of the least appealing pieces of food I've ever seen. Out. It was not great. It was not great, dude. It just looks like microwave noodles.
Yeah,
with
that's a problem.
Bad chili on it, and then not even melted cheese.
The cheese is what gets me. Like, considering how bad everything else looks, the cheese was the deal breaker for I'm like, I won't have this. Like, you don't just throw the cheese on. You don't just throw it on. And to put it in perspective, and once again, I'm sure this is making a lot of people angry that defend it. I apologize. Do not take it personal. When I was in Seattle, yeah, this is a personal roast. When I was in Seattle, I like sought out eating grasshoppers at the Mariners game.
Ooh.
But like, I think that was more appealing than Skyline chili.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Last question. This is the last question. This one actually was asked by Paul, who is a big fan of the podcast. Big shout out to Paul, massive Jets fan as well. Does really great work on his podcast covering that team. He asked this question, and I don't think we got to it last time, and I figured it'd be a good way to end this one. What's the origin story? How did this podcast come together? How'd you get Connor as your podcast partner, or the other way around? What was the interview process like? Give me all the juicy.
He wants the behind the scenes details.
We didn't answer this question last time, did we?
I don't think so.
I do not think we did.
If we did, sorry everyone. Here's a repeat.
Okay. Do you want to tell your parts of it, or do you want me to tell mine?
Yeah, because mine's quick. They kidnapped me, and I'm still doing this freaking podcast. So, that's why I'm always in the same room. It's not even real. You can't touch all of this. That really is brick. No, I mean, obviously, I have a very honest answer for this. Obviously. When Stick to Football ended at Bleacher Report, I did not want to be out of the draft podcast game for as long as I was, but I also went into that knowing that I, wanted to find the right fit. I wasn't just going to start one by myself, which I would I've done a podcast by myself very briefly in between all my Jets ventures, and it's just, you have to book a guest every week. It's not, I just don't think it's a good format personally. I think it's very hard. Now, this is not a good format. That's not fair to the people that
you gotta like listening to yourself talk.
It is, and it's hard. Like, you and I could sit down and just go. Like, for anybody that listens to this, like, we text and we have like a rundown, but we could sit down and do probably like 5 shows in a row and just talk. Like, which just goes back to the answer of me finding the right podcast. So I took my time. I talked to a lot of different people, and this was the one I knew right away when Trevor was obviously a podcasting free agent. I was a podcasting free agent. The great people at PFF, and I genuinely mean that. Like, I say it all the time. The brief time that I get to work at PFF each week, I adore it. The data, not just the data we have, but the people are so awesome. So I knew this was the right fit because I've known Trevor a long time, and I always wanted to work with him, and I knew that we would have good chemistry. There wouldn't be this like ramp up period. So after I went through a couple different, we could do this, we could do that. This was the one that felt far and away like the no-brainer to me. And I was dying to get back in the draft podcast game. As much as I do the stuff with the Mets and the Jets, which is more local, I wanted to do a national draft podcast and match all the draft work I do all year at BR. And I mean, this was just a no-brainer. And, I'll let you tell more of the background because I know you actually are full-time at PFF, and you were really like getting the roots started of developing this show. I kind of just jumped on board in that sense.
Yeah, I remember when Ben announced that he was going to be leaving Lockdown NFL Draft, leaving TDN to go over to the Ringer. I remember, I think it was the day that Ben sent out that text, or the message on Twitter, kind of letting everybody know. I think you texted me that day, and you were like, "Hey, if you are looking to do a podcast, or if you were looking for somebody to take Ben's seat, then I
have been around in the market for a while.
Right. Because I knew that Stick to Football had ended a while back.
And so 2020?
No way. Was it that long?
It was definitely during the pandemic.
Dang.
Yeah.
Shoot.
October 2020.
You'd kind of been you'd kind of been on the shelf, if you will, or just like in the wings waiting for a while. And when you texted me that, I was like, okay, like now I've got a legitimate option. Because you're right. I mean, you really don't want to start a podcast over if you don't have to. And I was fortunate enough that it was just really great timing. We kind of went through the interview process. Connor was one of the first guys that we interviewed that was on the list. We had a couple of other people that we were thinking about to potentially be podcast partners. And I'm going to be honest, man, our head producer Stone, who is awesome in what he does behind the scenes for this podcast.
He's the man.
Him and Ryan and Max, they do such a great job producing this pod. So massive shout out to them. Massive shout out to them for every episode, making it as great as it is. I was going through the interview process with Stone, and Stone, after Connor's interview, he just kept going back. He's like, yeah, but I like Connor, because we had a lot of great people and friends that I have in the industry that we considered. And I was like, dude, if you like Connor the best, I know that we would work out. And we ended up coming to a conclusion that Connor was going to be the best podcast co-host. And I think that's definitely been the case. And it's been a lot of fun getting to do this podcast for the first, whatever it's been, 6-7 months. I know we're just getting started with it, but lucky timing in a lot of ways to be able to, like you said, turn on the mic, turn on the camera, and just be able to talk football with one of my friends. And that's what, it. Hopefully that is what this podcast always seems like. I've always been a massive believer in the fact that, yes, the topics, the elements, the hot takes, like those are the things that make a show. But at the end of the day, the biggest compliments that I get, whether it's this show or whether it was Locked On NFL Draft, is people saying, I felt like I was in the room talking about football with two of my friends. And that's what I'm doing here. That's what I'm doing with you guys. When you guys get involved in the conversation, I certainly hope that that's the case for you, Connor. And I hope that that's always the way that it comes off. So that's really kind of just how it started. A lot of lucky timing. And very thankful for it. Very thankful that it worked out. And we're both here in these seats.
Me too. That's the secret sauce, right? Is that like there's no ego on this show. It's just pure chemistry. It is. You and I are not afraid to disagree with each other, but it's always a healthy disagreement. It's not like Skip Bayless tweeting at Russell, calling him Westbrook, and like,
dude, did you see Skip say that LeBron's the 7th best player in the NBA?
No, but I just. No,
I was a TikTok clip, of course, and they were posting it. Man. And look at that,
he's good, man. He's good at this.
Oh, he's incredible. He's unbelievable. And he starts off, and he's like, I've still got Kevin Durant as the number 1 player. And Shannon's just like, Skip.
That's so good. Shannon's
the first one.
Like it was an instant star at this.
I mean, he's the energy that guy has, and the same thing, man. Like how bold he is, how confident he is, and it feels like how well researched he is, man. It makes for such a great back and forth show. So obviously, guys, that's exactly where this show is going. We're gonna totally just spiral downhill until we're the next first
on Undisputed PFF. No, I mean, we have an exciting season coming up, too. Like, I don't want to obviously give away too much yet, but for everybody listening, we've been talking about, for those that miss us 3 times a week instead of 2, I mean, you don't have to worry about that. That'll be back before you come back. Blink. And we have a lot planned for, how to really merge the NFL, college, and draft worlds on this podcast. And I think that's something that you and I are distinctly honestly good at in this space. That, a lot of people, I get it. They're too busy covering just the NFL or just college or just the draft. Mm-hmm. And I think you and I have a distinct goal to do all 3 this year in a really productive manner. And I think it's going to be freaking awesome.
And I mean, good at it. I mean, certainly the way that I would put it as well is that you and I love it. I mean,
that's why
love college football, love the draft, love NFL. And so we are fully planning on continuing to give you guys hopefully good, great, and even the best content out there. We love that you guys are rocking with us. We love that you guys have cared so much, especially in these last 2 mailbag episodes that we've done, just seeing the responses, seeing the passion. It makes us love doing this a lot more. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Hopefully it's just the beginning of something special. We certainly believe that it is, but there we go. That's the mailbag episode for this week. On Monday, we have another Mock Draft Monday format. We're debating between a couple of different topics, and I don't know which one to do yet because I'm excited to do all of them, especially since you guys love the NFL Street ones so much. We're going to continue to get creative, continue to find fun ways to give shout outs to players, teams, positions, everything heading into this 2022 season. That's what it's all about. It's all about having fun, being creative during the off season. So not sure which Mock Draft Monday format it's going to be, but it's going to be one of them. You'll hear from us on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. We love you. We'll see you then. I'm Trevor. That's Connor. This is the NFL Stock Exchange.